I am so excited to be a part of this inaugural Trino Summit. I'm Justin Borgman, co-founder and CEO of Starburst. At Starburst, the open source community is at the heart of everything that we do. Our product is built directly from the Trino code base, and as the creators and leading contributors to the project, we take the role of community stewardship very seriously. Trino is Apache licensed and will always be Apache licensed. Trino is governed independently by the Trino Software Foundation. So even though Starburst is the biggest contributor, the project is truly owned by you, the community. Trino is actively developed by a vibrant community of thousands of developers, including many of you tuning in right now online. And for those of you who are new to the community, you may be wondering, how did we get here? So if we go all the way back to 2012, it all started nearly a decade ago with my friends and colleagues, Eric, David, Martine, and Dane. They were at Facebook at the time and had a vision for a brand new query engine to allow Facebook to quickly process and analyze all of their hundreds of petabytes of data. The result was the creation of Presto. Over the following years, Presto gradually gained momentum, getting faster and faster as an engine and gaining more and more users across the globe. I became involved in 2014 when my team of database veterans at Teradata began contributing to the project with an eye towards making Presto a truly enterprise-grade solution that companies of all shapes and sizes could take advantage of. In late 2018, Martine, Dane, and David left Facebook to ensure that the community would continue to be able to develop independently of Facebook, the company. Presto SQL was born on that day, but not many people outside of the community realized that there were now two Prestos, PrestoDB and Presto SQL. So at the beginning of this year, Presto SQL was renamed to Trino. And of course, the rest is history. The community of leading contributors quickly followed suit, and Trino has truly achieved escape velocity, blasting off into outer space. In this chart, you see the top 10 contributors to Presto of all time. 3 of them no longer work on the project, and the rest of them are all contributing to Trino today. In fact, Andre Rosa just joined us over the summer. He was the #1 contributor to Presto since that split, and he's decided to join Starburst and continue his work on Trino instead. And you can see a lot of exciting developments that he's going to be working on in the coming months. Since then, as I mentioned, the rest is history. Trino is off to an incredible start as a brand, and here are some stats that show that. Over 4 million downloads in just in the last 9 months, 34% increase in Twitter traffic, 57% increase in numbers of members of the community active on the Slack channel, the Trino Slack channel, 150% increase in GitHub stars, and of course 206% increase on YouTube in the various community channels that we engage in there. And the truth is, it's really you who made all of this possible. You created the Trino brand, and in less than a year, you've created remarkable brand recognition. So where does Starburst fit in all of this? I thought it'd be useful to kind of share a little bit about our purpose and our vision. We want to help our customers to see the invisible and achieve the impossible. We do that by turning the data warehousing model inside out. 40 years ago, Teradata was the pioneer in data warehousing, and this photo is actually that first data warehousing appliance back in 1978. And the reality is, in 40 years, the model hasn't changed that much. In fact, Snowflake is the same model, just modeled for the cloud. All of these models are the same. They require you to take data out of your various data sources, perform ETL, transform that data, and ultimately load it into some kind of enterprise data warehouse, this quote-unquote single source of truth. But we think that model is slower than it looks because of all of the data movement and data preparation required before you can run that first query. We think it requires many copies of the same data, copies at the source system, copies in various intermediate places, and obviously copies at the end of the day in that single source of truth. And we think it creates tremendous vendor lock-in and exponential costs because you've now put all of your most valuable data in the hands of a vendor storing your data in a proprietary storage format that you can only access through that one vendor. And last but not least, it limits your view to what is in that enterprise data warehouse right now at that moment in time. And so here at Starburst, we've turned that model inside out. We've absolutely flipped it around, and we allow you to access your data no matter where it lives through a single point of access. Imagine a city in darkness. Maybe it's New York City and the power has gone out, and we're now restoring electricity to that city. You might imagine that we would start first with one block in the city center. Maybe it's the most important block. Maybe it's where more data lives than anywhere else. We think that in the future, this is going to be the data lake. We think it's a natural center of gravity because of the economics, first and foremost. It's going to provide your lowest total cost of ownership because you're running on commodity storage. Maybe it's S3, maybe it's Azure Data Lake, maybe it's Google Cloud Storage, or perhaps it's object storage on-prem or even Hadoop. In any of those cases, you're essentially locking in the lowest cost possible storage for you to store and manage mass amounts of data. The data lake also offers open data formats like Parquet, ORC, and newer formats like Iceberg or Delta that ultimately allow you to have interoperability. You could use Spark to train a machine learning model and then use Starburst to query it via SQL. And that's the power of a data lake. Starburst always wants to be the fastest possible query engine for the data lake. Some people call this model the lake house, and we think it's a really important concept. However, we also think that no matter how hard you try, you're always going to have other data sources as well. Why is that? Well, first and foremost, what I like to call the Stonebreaker principle. Michael Stonebreaker famously wrote a paper about 15 years ago where he said there's no one-size-fits-all database system. Of course, Stonebreaker won the Turing Award, was the creator of Ingress and Postgres and Vertica, so he knows a little bit about database systems, and the reality is you're always going to have different database systems. You're going to have different departmental data marts, you're going to have transactional systems, operational systems, you're going to inherit assets via M&A. Every time you buy a company, you've now inherited their data architecture as well. You're going to have new applications and new devices. And Starburst wants to help you light up that city block by block, giving you visibility into everything that you have. But it doesn't stop there. If we zoom out and think about this on a global perspective, you have different regions. You may have AWS West, AWS East, AWS Frankfurt, and you've got data in each of these different regions, and you want to be able to query across these different regions. You may have multiple clouds. You may have Azure, you may have Google. You may have an on-prem data center as well. And again, you want to be able to perform cross-cloud analytics, the ability to join a table in one cloud with a table in another cloud. And we've recently introduced something called Stargate, which is our ability to connect multiple Starburst clusters and push the processing to where the data lives so that you can truly do fast analytics across data in any cloud while minimizing data egress charges. And lastly, due to ever-changing global regulatory requirements, there is an increasing need to protect data sovereignty, to keep the data where it was created. Perhaps you have a subsidiary in Switzerland, and the data created in Switzerland needs to stay in Switzerland. Well, again, the notion of bringing the processing to where the data lives really minimizes the need to remove any data and stay compliant. And so at the end of the day, we want to help you light up your world with Starburst. Where are we going as a company? There are three core pillars to what we believe in. First of all, we want to unlock the analyst within us all. This speaks to the concept of democratization of data, allowing everyone within your enterprise to have the freedom to explore their own curiosity. We want to create optionality in everything that we do by allowing you, the customer, to have the opportunity to decide where that data lives. You own your data, not Starburst. And lastly, we want to provide the fastest time to insight. Everything we do is centered around performance and providing the fastest possible query response time, including the ability to skip ETL altogether and going directly to data sources. Ultimately, how do we get there? We think it's a multi-act play. We started with this concept of the lakehouse, doing high-performance data warehousing analytics within a data lake, and we're continuing to advance that notion by allowing now updates and deletes working with different data formats. If you're working with Delta, you're working with Iceberg, you're working with Hudi, you can now do updates and deletes on these types of tables and really perform what Teradata called active data warehousing. That's a very exciting development. We've now also extended beyond that data lake into what we call a data mesh. This is a growing category, first coined by Zhamak Dehghani, and it's this idea of data being decentralized and being able to not only access data in a decentralized fashion, but that there are actually benefits to data decentralization by pushing control and authority to the domain owners who understand the data, and thinking about data as data products that can then be shared within the organization. And you'll see a lot more from us on that topic in the coming months. Act 3, again, this ability to do cross-cloud analytics, truly commoditizing where the data is stored and allowing you, the customer, to have the freedom to access your data regardless of what platform you've chosen. This also gives you the benefit of future-proofing, allowing you to adapt to a changing future as your organization scales. So with that, I'm very excited to bring that future to you today and introduce Starburst Galaxy, our cloud offering that aims to make Trino easy and put it in the hands of everyone. With that, I'd like to bring out two of my co-founders here at Starburst and the creators of Trino, Dane and David. They have been hard at work at Starburst Labs, accelerating the future of analytics. Could you guys come up on stage and tell us about what you've been working so hard in the lab on with Starburst Galaxy?
Excellent. Super excited to show what we've been doing with Galaxy over the past few months. So this is our brand new sign-up flow. So I've already put in my email address and I fetched the verification code. There we go. Verified, all right. I'm going to just create a new account here. So I'm creating a new domain for this new account. So everything is private to just me. All right. And I need to set a password for my user. Create a nice long password there. All right. So what we've done in the background is we set up a new domain, we set up the account, we launched a Trino cluster. We can just run a quick query here. So query's up and running. We already have a warehouse. Like, boom, running a query from sign up to warehouse, everything running in, I don't know, that was at like 30 seconds? Yeah, 30 seconds. All right, so I'm gonna just show, this is a real warehouse. It's a small little demo guy that we create for everyone when they sign up. So I just pasted in a query and reformatted it because it's kind of a messy query from David here. We're gonna run it here. And this is using our sample TCPH data set that I think anyone who's used Trino is familiar with. Takes a second to initialize the first time, but the second time around, like, boom, running a nice little TCPH query. So full cluster, like 1 minute, running queries. I love this thing. Like, this is actually, like, I use this all the time. So like a really common thing for me is I come in and like someone will ask a question like, oh, how does like formatting of, or how do I change the time zone of date time? This is the thing that always kills me. And like there's two different ways, like, oh, I can change the time zone and like the time adjusts or it doesn't adjust. Like, I mean, as anyone knows, scheduling meetings, you want to get that right. So it's like, okay, the at time zone added 2 hours, and the with time zone doesn't. So I play with this all the time. This is like my go-to now. I used to like start up like real Trino on my laptop, but now I'm just like, this is so much easier. I use this all day long to answer questions and help people out. So that's nice. That's like a nice little demo, but like let's connect to some real data sources. So I set up some data sources on Amazon, and I'm going to connect into those. So we're going to go add a catalog. First thing I'm going to add is a basic Postgres catalog. We're going to put this in Amazon. Well, my data is in Amazon, so let me fill this out here quick. Gotta enter my fancy password, and I'm gonna autofill this because I don't want to have to look it all up. So this is our Postgres database. This is a database that one of our solutions architects prepared. It's got something from some crypto database of some kind, and we're entering the host, the port, all the usual stuff, credentials so you can do. Now, this is like my favorite thing. I love this. I can test to make sure like it actually works. So it tells us it works. Detected it was in Amazon's Ohio region. And you know this is going to work at this point, so I'm going to add that catalog. All right, now I'm going to add another catalog. This time I'm going to access data that we have in S3. Again, I'm going to quickly fill that in. All right. So this is a glue database. So we're going to connect to S3. I have some basic credentials. If anyone's not familiar with Glue, Glue has a full Glue stack for your account in like every region. So we have to tell it which one we're going to connect to. We're also going to connect to Ohio. And we're going to give that a test connection here. So our system supports Glue, RealHive metastores. We also have a built-in metastore that's provided by us. I use this for like temporary data a lot of times, like so I don't have to like set anything up. It's really fast, just works. Super convenient. So I'm just going to create this catalog. Everything's looking good so far. All right. So now I got two catalogs here. Now I'm going to go put these into a new warehouse. So for this one, I'm going to just keep going with our demo warehouses. We have bigger sizes, obviously. So we have this like really great feature that David designed here. This is the auto shutdown feature. So when a warehouse goes idle, you can choose to like automatically shut it down after a minute or 15 minutes or whatever. And it just saves you money. So I love this because I always forget to shut down my warehouses, but I know that like I'm not going to get a call from like, you know, the person who has to manage our AWS bill yelling at me going like, wow, how did you leave this massive cluster up over the whole weekend? You just cost us $1,000 or something like that. So like, I love this. This is my favorite. So I'm gonna add the two catalogs here, and it automatically detects that these are in Ohio, so it suggests putting the region in Ohio. But this runs in all the clouds. You could pick Amazon. This is Athena. There's Azure. Sorry, not Athena. This is Azure. This is GCP. We're spread out across the world. This is just our staging system. Our production system's got a lot more stuff to it. So creating the warehouse.
You mentioned auto shutdown. It starts up automatically when you run a query.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So auto shutdown is great because it's designed for like everyone goes home at the evening. They come in the morning. Someone like fires up a dashboard. The system sees a query coming in. It's like, oh, let me go restart that cluster quick. Restarts the cluster up, and then your queries go through. I really wish we had this like years ago. It's such a great feature. So I am going to start that cluster up. While that's starting, let's talk about some of the other stuff we have. So there's built into this, there's a security system. So this is my account. I'm an account admin. You can add additional people pretty easily. There's a full RBAC system in here. So right now we create some basic roles, the account admin and a public role. You can see we've assigned privileges. You can add in additional privileges if you want. What else we got here? Oh yeah, obviously assign users to this role. I'm the only user and I'm already assigned, so I can't assign additional people. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is like one of the very first things we put in the system was an audit log, and I use this all the time when I'm like, you're using something like a warehouse and like who went and changed the configs of this thing and broke it for everyone, or like where did this warehouse come from? Like I really want to know what's going on. Like really important to figure out like what happened in your system. So there's like a full audit log of like every action in the system. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to our worksheet. Actually.
So it's running?
It's running, yeah. Got to hit the right one. Cool. All right. Cool. It's up and running. So I got this big query from our solutions architects, and basically what this thing does is it goes through that. Let me hide this stuff so we can see this a little bit. So this goes through that Postgres database I created, and it has a bunch of information about people who have been posting to crypto forums on Stack Overflow. So like different things, it's unioning together like a bunch of different tables in Postgres. And then we're going to go through and we're going to merge that in with some data in the Glue database, so in our data lake.
In S3.
In S3, and using a inquiry into that with clause. And this thing is pulling through, I don't know, I think they said like a couple 100 gigabytes of data. It's pretty fast. So the first time around, it's like, this is actually a cold database. Like we've run just so catalog, so it's actually like got to warm up the code, which takes a second. So I think normally the second query is going to take like half the time here. So this pulled in a bunch of data. So really like simple to use, like, you know, this wasn't a very long demo.
We combine data between Postgres and S3?
Yep, combine data between different data sources. We set up this thing, can easily test it. There's a built-in security system. There's an audit trail, runs in all 3 of the clouds. The auto suspend is like a really great feature for saving money. I'm super excited about this, and I hope you all will be excited about it also.
Yeah, it just makes it really easy to use Trino. Like anyone who's tried to use Trino knows, like, you know, you're installing this software across a bunch of machines and managing it, and now like you can just click a few buttons and it just works for you.
Yeah.
Oh, we talk about multiple warehouses, why you'd want to use this.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I didn't mention that. I'm so glad you're here to remind us of this. So we, like, one of the big items that we found as we've gone through this is different, in an org, you'll want to have different warehouses for, like, you'll have a warehouse for your finance data, you'll have a separate one for HR, and like people want that for comfort, and they also want it because like they want to be able to build back different divisions and et cetera. And so this is really easy. Like you can set up 10 warehouses. I mean, I set up 2 warehouses in 10 minutes here. So this is a really convenient way to manage your system. I'm really excited about this. I hope you all will really enjoy it when we get it. We're betaing this new setup here, and we'll be opening up later this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Dane and David. I mean, I'm incredibly excited. First of all, it's very rare that you'll see a cloud platform, a SaaS solution deployed on all 3 clouds at the same time. And so the fact that this runs truly anywhere is an engineering marvel in and of itself. But I also want to say that auto shutdown feature is a game changer for anybody who manages a budget. I am the one who would normally be, asking why we're spending so much on our AWS spend, and this has made a huge difference even for us in our own internal developing and working with customers. So awesome stuff, and incredibly easy to use. I mean, so easy to use that I think even a CEO might be able to use it. So hopefully this demonstration gives you an idea of what is possible with Starburst Galaxy and our goal to make Trino easy for everyone to enjoy. If you would like to experience Galaxy for yourself, please go to starburst.io/galaxy and you can sign up for a free trial there.